Football, rising to glory as the strongest post player. Episode 61. Hours before the start of the fourth round of Liverpool's FA Cup home game against Wolves, Lulu returned to the hotel and quickly turned on his computer, edited the news he had learned in an orderly manner, and sent it to the Emperor in his personal account. The men's football team drew 2 and lost 3 in the first 5 rounds of the 2018 FIFA Asian Zone Round of 12 in Russia, finished bottom of Group A, and basically did not qualify for the main stage of the World Cup in Russia with the last 5 rounds of the group stage, resulting in domestic scolding. It is in this context that a second-generation Chinese appears in the squad of Premier League giants. Liverpool will definitely earn a lot of traffic. The level of land literature is very high, and he perfectly assembled the news he knew in just 2 hours, as if he was immersed in seeing a Chinese genius rising in Anfield. At 6 o'clock in the evening Imperial Time, the Emperor of the Ball has a striking headline: Liverpool Super Genius, made. Users who understand the Ball Emperor who see this title will basically go in and watch it, and after a while, most of the fans' comments are biased towards spray editing. What the hell is this? 15-year-old player genius? What international joke? Dead horse? Football is hopeless. Also made. Get lost. Take my 40-meter big knife, I will let the editor run 39 meters first. 3 months quadruple jump? Do you think it's diving? The novel of mixed division giant beast prawns does not dare to write like this. In the hundreds of comments, there are also fans who have some expectations in their hearts, because the photos and articles sent by the land are very logical, not at all like random fabrications. Screenshots and foreign media reports are authoritative newspapers, and the credibility is extremely high. Groove, really fake? Is this man really a compatriot? Too genius, right? 3 months quadruple jump? Such a genius? I heard that Lux would broadcast this game, so I rushed to the membership first. Wow, the little handsome guy is very spiritual. 11 goals in 4 games. The FA Youth Cup staged a big 4, pay attention. Over time, the headlines became trending, and the number of comments reached 4 figures, most of which were spraying land, but there was no change in mood for Lulu as an editor, because he was a hot guy. As for being sprayed, he has long been mentally prepared. In today's impetuous society, football just can't be praised. In fact, even if Li Qing fails to play for Liverpool, it doesn't matter, but once Li Qing has the opportunity to represent Liverpool in the FA Cup and perform well, then he will be hot. At that time, the near-water building platform will get the moon first, and establish a good relationship with Li Qing in advance. It's exciting enough to think about. 2 hours before the start of the game, the headline comments published by Lulu reached 3,000, but Li Qing, who was the focus of the topic, did not know that he had become the focus of the Emperor of the Ball, and at this time he was preparing to board the bus and go to Anfield. Li Qing and Arnold sat in the back row of the bus, and when he took out his mobile phone, he saw Tong Shenbing forwarding a hot news about the Emperor on WeChat. Open up the Ball Emperor with the mentality of seeing, and the headlines are hot headlines full of title party flavor. Liverpool Super Genius, made. I'm going. Do you want to be so fierce? It's only the first time they've been shortlisted for Liverpool. Li Qing saw a large group of trolls appearing in the popular comments, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Do you want to be so ruthless? After reading a few trolls with many likes in a row, he had a hint of obvious anger in his heart, and muttered coldly, "Don't let me have a chance to play, otherwise Xiao Yu will let you yourself go back the pulled out of the teach." Nope. I'm going to squirt back, while there's nothing to do right now. So, he spent 20 soft sister coins to change his name to Liverpool famous Li Qing, and turned on entering the spray mode with the troll. 20 minutes later, the bus slowly arrived at Anfield Stadium. The road in the outer square of the stadium was lined with Liverpool fans, dressed in red shirts, and humming the classic "You'll Never Go Alone." Li Qing looked out through the glass window. The dense crowd of home fans really shocked him. This feeling was much greater than the shock of entering with the fans. I want to be the protagonist. Feeling the enthusiasm from the fans, he whispered to himself. From the bus to the internal passage into the stadium, the shouts from the outside of Anfield Stadium gradually became quieter, and Li Qing knew why Liverpool had worked miracles in this stadium repeatedly. With such a home atmosphere, it's hard not to break out. When he was too vague, the person had quietly arrived in the room inscribed with Home Team Redsing Room, Chinese to the effect that it was the home team dressing room. There is a white cabinet in the middle of the dressing room, and on 3 sides are open wardrobes, on which are hung the shirts of Liverpool's first-team players, and teammates walked to their open wardrobes. Wow. Li Qing, who came to the home locker room of Anfield Stadium for the first time, was like a little white, and subconsciously exclaimed. Arnold smiled and patted Li Qing on the shoulder, as if to say, calm. Li Qing looked left and right, and he found that his temporary wardrobe was in the closest corner on the right, and the jersey number was the number 55 of his choice. Episode 62. Head coach Jurgen Klopp and his assistant were the last to come to the dressing room. Kravitz stood at the door and clapped his palms, solemnly said, Today is relatively cold, everyone must warm up in the next warm-up exercise, you know? The team is now full of injuries, and no more players can be injured anyway, so it is especially important to warm up before the game. No, the team members who were changing clothes said in unison. Li Qing tied his shoelaces tightly, followed Harry Weilerson and Arnold from the locker room tunnel to the stadium. Above the narrow exit tunnel, there was the Liverpool meritorious coach Bill Shankly, who once said football is not about life and death, but higher than life and death. Specially let the club set up the "This is Anfield" plaque, watching it faintly have a trace of blood boiling in his heart. The totem that has been passed down for half a century really has the effect of boosting morale. It would be great to represent Liverpool in this game. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but close his eyes, fantasizing about the moment when 1,000 calls came out and turned the tide. "Hey, Lee, what's the days? Everyone is waiting for you to go." Li Qing turned his head to look behind him, and saw that Arnold and his teammates who spoke were looking at him with a smile, and suddenly his face turned red, and he quickly took a step and entered Anfield Stadium through the passage. "This? Shame on people. What?" When Li Qing arrived at Anfield Stadium, the audience resounded with loud shouts from the home fans, and a tsunami-like rage surrounded the historic stadium. Although not many fans attend at this time, the atmosphere created by the fans is very frenetic. This feeling is very different from when he first came to the stadium to watch the game. "Let's go, don't sigh, you won't play anyway," Arnold teased. "Not necessarily," Li Qing said as he walked. Li Qing still has a very deep understanding of Anfield Stadium, which is divided into 4 grandstand areas, namely the main stand, the KOP stand, the Centennial stand, and the Anfield Road stand. The main stand is easy to understand, that is, the stand above the passage where they enter the stadium, is the seat where the TV broadcast is located. The KOP stand, the full name of the Spienkop stand, is to commemorate the Liverpool soldiers who died in the Second Boer War, and the fans who can sit in this position are die-hard fans with tickets. The Centennial stand is the stand opposite the main stand, the Anfield Road stand is the away stand, and the loud cheer just now came from the KOP die-hard fan stand. The players warmed up for about 40 minutes, then returned to the dressing room for final preparations before the game. Of course, this has nothing to do with Li Qing, because the main purpose of returning to the locker room is for Coach Klopp to arrange the next game tactics for the main players, and the substitutes return to the locker room more to take a shower, change into dry clothes, and avoid catching a cold. About 5 minutes before the start of the game, the players left the locker room one after another. The main players remained in the player tunnel, and the substitutes went straight through the tunnel to their respective benches. At this time, the atmosphere at Anfield Stadium has dropped significantly, but it is not that the fans do not want to shout, but to rest and wait until the game begins to erupt. Soon, players from both sides stepped onto the pitch, and Anfield Stadium was instantly like an erupting active volcano, out of control, and a huge roar like a tsunami swept the entire stadium. Li Qing, who was sitting on the bench, felt the feverish atmosphere on his face, and the blood on his body seemed to be heated, and gradually had the meaning of boiling again, just as the live director was given to the home team bench, sweeping one by one. Liverpool's form hasn't been very good lately, and this game at home against Wolves is. When the picture swept to Li Qing, Lux Sports commentator Jean Jun turned his words. The young player who appears on the left side of the picture is Li Qing, a 100% person. Of course, what I am talking about is that his blood is smooth human blood, because his parents immigrated to Great Britain in his early years. He was born in Liverpool, and he is also Britannica Chinese. He has shown amazing football talent since he entered the Kirkby Academy at an early age, scoring 11 goals in 4 games in the English National Youth Super League, and playing as senior and assists in the FA Youth Cup 1/16 final at Manchester City College, helping Liverpool's under-18s to qualify for the next round of competitions. And his performances have also conquered the coaching staff of Liverpool's first team. He turned 16 in 2 weeks, and he achieved an unprecedented quadruple jump in 3 months, by the way. Li Qing has not yet represented England teams at all levels to participate in international competitions. I hope our football association will give a little strength, such players, if they do not naturalize back. It will be a big loss for our fans. P.S. I won't go to the national football team, don't worry, just set it off. Those trolls who understood the ball emperor dismissed it, thinking that Jean Jun's speech was exaggerated. Many fans sitting in front of the computer are in good spirits, and the strength of Li Qing mentioned by Jean Jun is unknown, but he can play his senior year in the game against Manchester City U18, and his ability is certainly not too bad. Moreover, if you enter the FA Cup squad at the age of 15, can your ability be poor? However, many fans think that Li Qing should still be let go. Football is completely a big dive at. If you return to the national football team, God knows if it will change from a genius to a white chicken. Since you mix well in England, continue to stay there and grow slowly. Episode 63, Beep. With a long whistle from the referee, the 4th round of the 2016 to 2017 FA Cup season officially began, and although Wolves are currently in the middle and lower reaches of the championship, they quickly organized an attack with the advantage of kick-off. Seville crossed long from the right, left back Moreno predicted a fatal mistake. In order to make up for his mistake, he chose to foul behind him, and the referee on duty decisively sounded the whistle and awarded the visiting Wolves a free kick on the right flank. Woo woo woo. Liverpool fans in the KOP stands made a huge boo, giving it to the visiting players. Costa took a free kick from the right and the football accurately found central defender Stillman in the middle of the ambush, allowing the young Gomez and Craven to complete the header. Goalkeeper Minale couldn't react, and the football went into the net. No one expected that the visiting Wolves would turn against the guest to open the record. The emotionally charged Liverpool fans instantly felt like they had been smacked in the head, stunned in place, looking at the Wolves players celebrating the goal and shaking their heads bitterly. The team has only won one rematch since entering 2017, and the other matches have either lost or drawn. Will this game also be like the past games in which points were lost? The live director gave Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp a close-up of pushing to his face, and Klopp appeared in the picture with his hands behind him, his brows locked, and his expression extremely solemn. Although the top management held a press conference 2 days ago to announce their unconditional trust in Klopp, once Liverpool lose consecutive home games, the outcome left for Klopp is 100% dismissal. Liverpool, who had the advantage of kick-off, played impatiently, facing the Wolves who retreated in the half to break the dense defense of long-range shots. But the Wolves who were ahead of the score played very smartly. The box was full of defenders, and the football was blocked by the Wolves defenders. Facing Wolves in a bus formation, Klopp, who is good at high pressure and defensive counterattacks, really has little to do. Li Qing, who is sitting on the bench, also has a heavy face. Liverpool starters except for Wijnaldum and Firmino are the main players, all others are substitutes and youth team upward players. The overall strength is not much stronger than the main Wolves, so if you want to force a goal, the difficulty factor is not generally high. Liverpool, sitting at home, had the advantage of possession without any real threat, and the game gradually entered a state of stalemate. In the blink of an eye, half an hour after the game, Liverpool still failed to equalize, but Wolves fought back loudly. At one point, Liverpool had as much as 80% of the possession, but it was not enough. In the 41st minute, Captain Lucas made a mistake, and Costa, who accidentally won the ball in the middle, sent a clever pass. The football rolled against the ground to the left rib of the attack, and the striker Weinman who inserted in time crossed past the attacking goalkeeper Minale, and then scored an empty goal. The score went from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Klopp's face, which appeared on the broadcast screen, was covered with gloom. During the slow-motion replay, Klopp made an angry and cathartic gesture at the moment the team conceded the goal, and said something in his mouth, obviously dissatisfied with the team's conceded goal. The atmosphere at the home of Anfield Stadium was reduced to a minimum, and even die-hard fans in the KOP stands gave up making noises and allowed the visiting Wolves fans to celebrate. Li Qing, the new owner of Wolves who was given at the scene, was ecstatic, in stark contrast to Liverpool owner John Henry. Falling behind by 2 goals, Liverpool stepped up their offensive late in the first half, and even centre-back Craven entered the box as a centre-forward. But there was little time left and they could not close the score until the end of the first half. The Liverpool players who walked into the player tunnel were all listless, as if they had lost their souls. Li Qing sighed. The team had no choice but to get up and enter the stadium to warm up and prepare for the second half. Whether he can play or not is not something he hopes to do. It depends on manager Jurgen Klopp to have this idea. Most of the Liverpool fans in the audience were listless, and some disappointed fans chose to leave the stadium early to express their team's dissatisfaction. More than half of the 15-minute intermission, Liverpool die-hard fans in the KOP stands regained their due color, and the classic team song "You'll Never Go Alone" resounded in the stands. When you walk through the storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. Walk on, with hope in your heart. The song was sung here, and the Liverpool fans throughout the stadium sang hysterically, "And you'll never walk alone, you'll never walk alone." Li Qing, who was still warming up, listened to the singing from all directions, and he felt that the blood in his whole body was flowing rapidly at this moment, and he had a feeling that he was about to erupt. He had a strong feeling that if he could come off the bench in the second half, then there would definitely be a goal. Liverpool, who trailed by 2 goals in the first half, made a substitution before the start of the second half, but instead of Li Qing, it was Philippe Coutinho, who replaced defender Randall. Klopp's intention to adjust is very obvious, that is, to strengthen the creativity of the attacking up front, but Wolves have targeted deployments during the halftime, and Liverpool's attack has been slow to hit the core area, and it is still incomprehensible. 15 minutes into the second half, Liverpool still failed to close the gap, and Klopp made another adjustment to the personnel, replacing young Stewart with experienced veteran Milner. However, the effect is still not good. After 2 substitutions were used up, the home team's attack still did not improve. Li Qing knew that he was likely to be unable to play in this game, and he couldn't help but stand up, walked to Klopp, who was standing in the home team's coach command area with a frown, and covered his mouth and said, "Head, I want to play." Episode 64. Klopp, who was pondering, suddenly raised his eyebrows after hearing this, and turned his head to look at Li Qing's eyes a little displeased. He wanted to be angry. He noticed the strong expectation and strong desire to win in Li Qing's eyes. As a football club manager of competitive sports, He wants to win more than anyone, the past is so, and the present and future will not forget his original intention. Perhaps under the influence of Li Qing, Klopp's ugly expression gradually returned to normal, but his tone was still unhappy. Come back in 10 minutes. Yes, sir. Li Qing was ecstatic. Every professional football stadium will have a camera specifically aimed at the head coach of the home and away team, and the light director of Anfield Stadium noticed an interesting picture in the home team coach's command area, and he quickly switched over. I saw Li Qing take off his thick down jacket and wear long-sleeved pants to the warm-up area. Jean Jun, the commentator sitting in the live broadcast room of Lux Sports, looked at the picture and his pupils shrank sharply, and blurted out, 15-year-old Li Qing, who was shortlisted for the Liverpool game squad for the first time, left the bench and went to the warm-up area. Does it mean that Klopp's third substitution adjustment will be used on the youngster? Speaking of this, he became more and more excited and emotional. If Li Qing can finally get an appearance, then he will set a record. The youngest appearance record in the FA Cup. The previous record was held by Arsenal's Wilshere, who set 17 years and 7 days in 2009. Li Qing also set a new record for youngest appearance in a professional game in England, which was still held by a Liverpool player, set by Jerome Sinclair, who was loaned out of Watford to Birmingham City in January this year, in the third round of the 2011 to 2012 Carabao Cup, when he was only 16 years and 6 days. At the same time, Andy Gray, a famous commentator of Sky Britannica, also noticed the image, and a suspicious voice reached the ears of fans sitting in front of the TV. Oh my god. Is Jurgen Klopp crazy? This little player named Li is only 15 years and 348 days. Some fans in the main stand recognized Li Qing as the most eye-catching player in Corkby's academy in recent times, and encouraged him unanimously, but more Liverpool fans felt ridiculous. How old is Li Qing? Can he change the current disadvantage facing Liverpool? Don't. Did Klopp give up the FA Cup to prepare for the league game at home to Chelsea? Thinking that the fans here are silent, it is obviously the league that is more important than the FA Cup. The team has fallen to fourth in the league, and Manchester City are at the bottom of the table, and the slightest mistake could miss the Champions League for 3 consecutive seasons. But they always feel that something is wrong with Klopp sending Li Qing. After all, this situation is not suitable for training. On the contrary, it will leave a big shadow on young players. Klopp obviously thought of this problem. Just now it was just an impulse, but now he calmed down and felt that it was irresponsible for him to replace Li Qing, so he took advantage of the scene to pull 2 assistants to explore the possibility of Li Qing playing. Isn't it a little inappropriate to use the last substitution adjustment here for Li? Kravitz and Bovac looked at each other. The former was Klopp's eyes, the latter was Klopp's brain, and after a few seconds, Brain Bovac said, "It is indeed bad for Li's growth from a conventional point of view, but..." Speaking of this, he looked at Li Qing, who was warming up, and the corners of his mouth rose. Don't look at Li under the age of 16, his heart is big, don't forget. This game can be abandoned in our plan. The game is less than half an hour away. Give Li a chance to play and let him feel the atmosphere of the professional arena firsthand, otherwise it's hard for him to have that opportunity again this season. Klopp pondered that, as Bovac said, this match could well be the only match Li Qing had a chance to play this season. Currently fourth in the league, the lead is delicate. Manchester United and Manchester City are behind them, and the team must get the top 4 in order to participate in next season's Champions League and the Carabao Cup and FA Cup in succession. Otherwise the position is in jeopardy. In the second half of the league, the competition is particularly fierce. Where is the opportunity to give Li Qing a chance to play? Clear his thoughts. Klopp nodded lightly. After all, he had a verbal agreement with Mendes. If the performance was not good enough, then it was logical to respond that Li Qing was not suitable for the professional league at present, and Mendes would not be able to say anything at that time. Either let Li Qing return to the Kirkby Academy or leave on loan. However, judging from Li Qing's age under the age of 16, there are definitely very few teams that are willing to give a chance to play. 10 minutes passed quickly. The game came to the 72nd minute. Li Qing finished warming up and returned to the coach's dugout. Because the scene was relatively glued, the live director switched the screen to the home team coach's dugout. Just saw Liverpool assistant coach Bovac holding a tactical board and saying something to Li Qing. Leicester Sports commentator Jean Jun turned his head and shouted, "Li Qing, is this really going to come off the bench? Incredible record." He was 15 years and 348 days old. In fact, Boaj has very little to say, that is, to let Li Qing break through on the right wing. As for passing or shooting, it is up to him to decide. Half a minute later, Li Qing came to the sidelines wearing a Liverpool shirt and trousers, and standing next to him was the fourth official waiting for the dead ball opportunity to hold up the substitution electronic card. Sky British commentator Andy Gray had an excited voice. Remember this day, this young man named Lee set a New England FA Cup appearance record. Episode 65. The game fell into a state of stalemate, and the fanatical atmosphere created by the Liverpool fans in the stands decreased significantly over time, and by the 70th minute of the game, only the die-hard fans of the KOP stands were still making noise. The main stand, the Centennial stand, even had fans choose to leave the stadium early to express their dissatisfaction with the team. With Coutinho's long-range shot after cutting inside the left rib to fire the anti-aircraft gun, the referee called Atkinson to blow the whistle, turned his finger and pointed his finger at the sidelines, and the first assistant referee raised the flag above his head with both hands. Fans who know the rules of football know that this is a substitution adjustment on the sidelines. Only then did the fans in the audience notice Li Qing, wearing the number 28 shirt, and the fourth official standing next to him held up the substitution electronic sign. The green number showed 55 foot and the red number showed 53. Seeing that the replaced player number was herself, Ayaria shook her head and ran to the sidelines. Although most fans in the audience did not know who the replaced 55-foot player was, they could guess from the oversized number that the substitute was most likely from the youth team. Sky Britannia commentator Andy Gray's voice was an octave higher. At 15 years and 348 days, Lee sets a record for youngest appearance in the FA Cup. He has also surpassed former Liverpool player Jerome Sinclair as the second youngest appearance in England's top competition, ahead of former Leicester City player Ashley Chambers, who set the record for youngest appearance in the Carabao Cup in 2005 at the age of 15 years and 203 days. Come on, Ayaria high-fived the handover. At the same time, Li Qing heard a familiar system prompt tone, ding. Congratulations to the host for participating in England's top tournament for the first time, rewarding the random item, immune serious damage. Many fans in the audience were dissatisfied with Klopp's adjustment, but thinking that the young players who came out were from the Kirkby Academy, the ready inversion turned into a shout. Papa papa pa. Liverpool fans at Anfield did not skimp on their applause, including those disappointed but did not leave, clapping their palms, and thunderous applause quickly swept the stadium, creating a long-lost home feverish atmosphere. Li Qing, who had just stepped into the court with his left foot, was still surprised by the reward of the system. His blood suddenly flowed and accelerated. Feeling the feverish atmosphere on his face, he naturally clenched his fists, looked at the opponent's goal, and said in a voice that only he could hear clearly, "I will definitely not disappoint the fans in the audience." Of course, he did not forget the advice of head coach Klopp before he came on the pitch, and took the initiative to run to Coutinho to explain the change of tactical position and responsibilities. Philippe Coutinho returned to midfield from the original left winger, tandem and organizing the attack, with Roberto Firmino in the center, Origi on the left and Li Qing on the right. Wolves goalkeeper Berg was very abrasive because of the kickoff goal, and he ran halfway through the seemingly short pass to signal his teammates to run forward, indicating that he wanted to kick off the ball with big feet, and the Liverpool fans in the audience subconsciously burst out into a huge boo, giving it to the Wolves goalkeeper who delayed the game. Unmoved, Berg casually retreated outside the bottom line, raised his right hand, and signaled his teammates in front to get ready, but he took 2 steps and stopped sharply, giving people the feeling that the steps were wrong. Woo 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 woo. With the loud boos created by Liverpool fans, the current referee Atkinson couldn't help it. He took a yellow card from his chest pocket and flashed it to Bergen. "It's too obvious to delay the game." Lux Sports commentator Jean June shook his head. Li Qing, who came to the right side of the attack, looked at the opposing goalkeeper Bergen with disdain. "If this little trick can help the team keep the score, then what is the extra game time for?" Berg, who received a yellow card, did not dare to delay the game any longer, and he drove directly to the goal. Wijnaldum jumped high in the center circle to beat Edwards to complete the header, and the football was saved by Philippe Coutinho, and Liverpool reorganized their attack. After a few passes in the middle, the football came to the feet of Li Qing on the right side of the attack, and Doherty, a defender on the left side of the Wolves' defense, looked at the immature Li Qing in front of him, and his face was full of contempt. Normally defenders lower their body weight, and Doherty really underestimated Li Qing, thinking that he was the same as Stewart and Ayaria, who were replaced before. Who knew that Li Qing's left foot suddenly slid the football diagonally to the left front, accelerating from the ribs. Doherty suddenly realized something, but his physical reaction could not keep up with consciousness, and he could only watch Li Qing pass by like a bolt of lightning. Back Evans secretly scolded Doherty in his heart, and did not hesitate to fall to the ground and put a shovel. Even if he couldn't let the football stay in place, he would keep Li Qing here. Having spent several seasons in the championship, he knows it is all about being clean. It's just that. At this moment, Li Qing slammed the football with the inside of the instep of his left foot, and the arch of his right foot then buckled the football to the right and went forward. "Croquettes," Lux Sports commentator Jean June blurted out. "I saw Li Qing stop in advance to avoid Evans' sloppy sliding tackle, and carry the football from the right rib of the attack to the penalty area. Ayo. Li Qing's sudden acceleration and sudden stop changed to instantly detonate the frenetic atmosphere of Anfield Stadium, like a volcanic eruption, out of control. Episode 66. Those Liverpool fans who walked towards the exit of the stadium listened to the huge shouts from the stands, subconsciously stopped in place, turned their heads to look at the stadium, and saw a teenager wearing the number 55 shirt dribbling the ball to the left rib of the Wolves' defense. You must know that Liverpool's attack has never hit this core area before, and I didn't expect that the young players who suddenly came on the field broke through so much. Klopp, who was a dead horse doctor, saw Li Qing connect the two, and the blood hidden in his heart was instantly released, and he subconsciously walked forward several steps, and did not even find his upper body probing across the sideline. The Liverpool players on the bench also stood up instinctively and looked at Li Qing, who was in the Wolves' penalty area. Oh my god. Li broke through two defenders from Wolverhampton Rangers in a row, and he went into the box. Wolverhampton Wanderers are in trouble. P.S. Wolves are called after the club crest. Wolves' previously stubborn defensive system suddenly cracked under Li Qing's sudden acceleration, and Firmino, Origi, and forward Philippe Coutinho all accelerated to the Wolves' penalty area, ready to take over. Li Qing, who had a wide vision, knew the situation on the field even if he did not look up at his teammates, and he noticed that only one left-back Stillman came to defend and gave up his passing plan and chose to single out the opponent. Entering the restricted area, the other party will definitely not dare to make movements easily. Really, Stillman put his hands behind his butt, obviously afraid of the ball hitter, so he just lowered the center of gravity of his body, so he did not dare to take the initiative to grab it. Li Qing lowered his forward speed, and his feet quickly swayed continuously along the top of the ball rolling forward. Bike. 1, 2, 3. Stillman was unmoved, and Li Qing sank his right shoulder when he stepped on the fourth bicycle. His left foot hit the ground, and his body tilted to the right about 60 degrees from the ground. Stillman's eyes flashed with rich defensive experience, and he realized that Li Qing was about to break through from the bottom line, and his right foot kicked the ground with all his strength, and the huge reaction force generated caused his body to rush to the left front. However, at this moment, Li Qing's right foot that seemed to be about to dial to the football suddenly retracted 10 centimeters, and it was exactly such 10 centimeters. His right foot did not touch the football, the front foot of the right foot tiptoed to exert force. The powerful explosive force was vividly displayed at this moment. The whole body was like a spring squeezed to the limit. Swoosh forcibly changed the center of gravity of the body, and the outer instep of the left foot was pulled horizontally to the football. Oops, Stillman's emergency stop was obviously too late, and he could only watch as Li Qing gently swung the football sideways to the middle with his left foot, stepped forward with his right foot, and stood about 30 centimeters on the right side of the football. At the same time, Le Sport commentator Jean Jun seemed to realize that something was about to happen, and he shouted hoarsely. Li Qing fooled Wolves' central defender Stillman with 5 consecutive bicycles, and raised his left foot. Stillman's central defender partner House was attracted by Firmino and could not defend Li Qing in a short time, which is equivalent to saying that Li Qing has no one to defend in front. Li Qing, who picked up his left foot, was about 16 meters away from the goal, and the instep of his left foot hit the middle of the football 1 centimeter away, so that the kicked football was close to the ground, like a spirit snake clinging to the grass and rushing to the far corner of the goal. Goalkeeper Berg quickly fell to the right ground due to bent knees, trying to finish the fall before the ball rolled, but the ball rolls forward significantly faster than his body can get off the ground. No, Li Qing's shooting power is not particularly large, the victory is at a tricky angle, and the football almost grazes the inner edge of the left goal post into the snow-white net, throwing into the arms of the goal. At the same time, Li Qing heard a prompt tone from the system, ding. Congratulations to the host for scoring the first goal of his career, which will reward him with 10 ability points and 666 gold. Gulul. Sky Britain commentator Andy Gray's signature prolonged voice rang out in countless homes. Lux Sports commentator Jean Jun was ecstatic. Li Qing. Remember the name. 15 years 348 days. The youngest goalscorer in England's top competition. He also surpassed Woodburn as the youngest goalkeeper in the team's history. What a crazy night. There is also Li Qing, who turned 16 in 17 days, to help the home team Liverpool, who are 2 goals behind, to win back a goal, and now the score is 1-2. There are more than 10 minutes left in the game, and there is still a lot of time left for Liverpool. Come on. Liverpool. Li Qing, who scored the goal, was very excited, not to mention the first goal in his career, and there were rich system rewards, and his excitement was difficult to suppress. The on-site director gave Li Qing a close-up of pushing to his face, and he was seen ecstatic, standing in the restricted area and shouting. The excitement of his teammates is no less than that of Li Qing, and there is no goal in the 70 minutes of strong attack, and Li Qing narrowed the score with his first breakthrough shot on the field. This feeling is simply great. Jurgen Klopp's signature punch-and-play celebration from the home dugout was once again staged at Anfield Stadium, with Liverpool fans in the stands on all sides of the stands hysterical and deafening shouts. The fans, who were already close to the exit, felt that they were very lucky to leave the stadium just a few steps away, and it was a few steps away that they were lucky enough to see the birth of one record after another. It was unfortunate for the fans who had left the stadium, but when they heard the goal appeared, they re-entered the stadium to celebrate the birth of a wonderful goal with the Liverpool fans at Anfield. In addition to setting multiple records and helping Liverpool narrow the score, Li Qing's goal was very spectacular, and the scoring of 3 consecutive goals was amazing. In the words of Jean June, a goal that cannot be replicated. Tong Shenbing, who was holding a mobile phone in a girls' dormitory at the University of Manchester, holding her mobile phone to watch Liverpool's FA Cup match against Wolves, twitched slightly at the corner of her mouth and whispered to herself, "This just scored? The youngest FA Cup appearance and goal scorer? Too fierce, right?" Episode 67. Young goalkeeper Berg vented his dissatisfaction by hammering a grass in front of goal with a very depressed fist, and his other teammates kept shaking their heads in disappointment, especially the goal-scoring hero Stillman, who was knocked to the ground by Li Qing. Wolves scored the opening goal by him, but the team's goal conceded was also inextricably linked to him, which is equivalent to the merit. In addition, Doherty, a fullback who underestimated Li Qing, was very unhappy. He really couldn't figure it out, and it was rare for him to scorn the other party once and be slapped in the face. It's really unreasonable. Wolves coach Lambert seems to have been mentally prepared for losing the goal, and compared to the depressed mood of the players, he was the first to ask his assistant to call the midfielder Ronan, who was both offensive and defensive, to prepare for the game. The team is still 1 goal ahead of the game so far, and there is no need to maintain the speed of the 2 wings. Defense is the key to beating Liverpool away. Before the game resumed, he replaced the already physically draining striker Elder Costa with Ronan, who was both offensive and defensive, to strengthen the activity factor in the middle, maintain the defensive level in the middle, and prevent Liverpool from organizing an effective attack in the middle. However, Liverpool tasted the sweetness from Li Qing's right wing, and the attack was simply a transition from the middle, and it would not be long to pass back and forth to find opportunities. When football came to Li Qing's feet, Liverpool fans in the audience became excited and stared to watch the young player who had helped Liverpool close the score not long after his appearance. Li Qing's age is undoubtedly the youngest in this game, but underestimating him, it certainly won't turn out much better. Wolves' goal conceded was largely due to left-back Doherty's underestimation, which gave Li Qing, who was looking for a breakthrough opportunity. Defending in the same position, Doherty held his breath this time and carefully stared at the ball at Li Qing's feet. Liverpool right-back Moreno stuck to the touchline, full-back Weman did not dare to get too close to Li Qing, and substitute Ronenko was defending the left rib, blocking Li Qing's internal cutting route. In order to avoid the sudden acceleration that Li Qing had previously shown, he kept a moderate distance. Looking at the 2 closely guarded, Li Qing had no intention of breaking through, and he pushed the football sideways to Coutinho, who ran over to pick up. Klopp, who was standing in the home coach's command area, was in deep thought. Li Qing took the ball just now, obviously did not look up at the position of his teammates standing next to him. How did he see Coutinho in the past? If it is enough to often train with the first team, the problem is that Li Qing has only practiced with the team for a few days. How broad is his horizons? In order to verify whether Li Qing's vision is really broad, Klopp took advantage of the dead ball opportunity to call Craven over and asked him to tell Milner to dare to step forward when the football passes to Li Qing's feet. After a while, Milner, who received the tactical transmission, nodded his head towards Klopp, although he had some doubts in his heart, but the tactical execution was high, and he chose to agree unconditionally. The football came to the right again after Coutinho and Wijnaldum, but it was not Li Qing who received the ball, but Moreno, who was standing on the right sideline. Li Qing didn't mean to insert forward, and Moreno had to helplessly pass it to Li Qing, who was standing on the ribs. Although Li Qing did not mean to break through in these minutes, the Wolves defenders did not let their guard down, apparently being bitten by snakes for 10 years and afraid of the well rope, worried that Li Qing would destroy the entire back line again at a galloping speed. The game time came to more than 80 minutes, and the Wolves players who continued to defend were physically exhausted, and the defensive selection area at the end of the game was the main focus, focusing on the defensive players. Li Qing supported with his right foot, his left foot constantly turned back and forth above the football, and Doherty, who was defending in front, was waiting for him. At this moment, Moreno, who was attached to the right sideline, suddenly accelerated. Weman was worried about Li Qing's pass and hurriedly followed. Ronan always maintained full vigilance against Li Qing. Coutinho remembered that Li Qing had a strong breakthrough ability, his eyes lit up, and he ran to the right rib of the attack, creating space for Li Qing to break through. The home fans in the audience were in high spirits when they saw that both Moreno and Philippe Coutinho were creating opportunities for Li Qing's breakthrough. Originally, Li Qing also wanted to break through, but he saw Milner, who was playing as a left back, accelerating towards the left rib from the left side. Compared to the middle and right ribs, where the number of defenders is quite dense, the number of offensive left ribs can be said to be very few. Opportunity. I saw Li Qing seeing the forward thrust of Milner, His left foot outside the instep gently pushed the football under his foot to the left, the right heel supported, and the inside of the left instep quickly hit the bottom of the football. Boom! The football quickly soared into the air, flying diagonally from the right rib of the attack to the left rib of the attack. At the same time, Klopp's fists were naturally clenched, his heart was full of surprise, and Wolves coach Lambert gurgled in his heart, realizing something. Ayo. Liverpool fans saw the direction the football was flying in the direction of Milner moving at high speed, creating loud shouts of hysteria. Milner in the running gave Li Qing a thumbs up in his heart. Originally he was holding the attitude of trying, but Li Qing, who was holding the ball, really saw himself. The ball is accurate and very comfortable, and he can choose to cross directly from the ball on the run. Stillman, who was dragging at the back, raised his right hand during his panicked retreat to signal that Milner, who was chasing the ball, was offside. However, the assistant referee is unmoved, that is, not offside. Milner looked at the ball and used his left foot, which was not very good, to quickly end the ball to the center. Origi, who was running in front of the goal, got up and down 10 meters in front of the goal, changed the trajectory of the football, and rolled against the grass towards the near end of the goal. Goalkeeper Berg was unresponsive to such a close-range shot and could only watch as the football crashed into the snow-white net. Episode 68. Anfield turned into a sea of joy in an instant, and Origi, who scored the goal, ran wildly with open arms, knocking Milner, who provided the assist, to the ground, releasing the enormous pressure of the goal. The regular starters for the league strikers are Roberto Firmino and Maine, who had wanted to take advantage of Maine's participation in the Africa Cup of Nations. But the delay in getting a performance left Liverpool in a difficult situation to win throughout January. Now to score and help Liverpool equalize, the big stone that weighed on the heart has finally fallen. Klopp, in the home dugout, once again showed his signature celebratory move at Anfield, completely igniting the excitement of Liverpool fans in the stands. Origi, who scored, and Milner, who provided the assist, did not forget the real hero Li Qing, who knew that without Li Qing's sudden and precise long pass, the equalizing goal would not have been possible. Wolves had decided to stick to the existing score when they concede a goal, and all aspects are targeted, and it is very difficult for the team to equalize the score with conventional offensive routines. But Li Qing's sudden long pass solved this problem and made the complex situation simpler. Klopp, who was celebrating the goal with his assistant, looked deeply at Li Qing, and his satisfaction in his heart became higher and higher. He really did not expect that Li Qing, who had only turned 16 in 2 weeks, could be so good. Not to mention individual breakthroughs and excellent technique at the feet, there is also a precise long pass and a wide field of vision that 90% of players do not have. It is simply a favored child by God. Leicester sports commentator Jean June looked at the replay of the goal given on the broadcast screen, and he said excitedly, although this goal was scored by Origi, the real credit is undoubtedly Li Qing, who sent a precise oblique long pass, and the ability shown by this young man really amazes us. Is it really a second-generation Chinese? The score turned into a draw and the Liverpool players saw hope of overtaking the scoreline. From the 2-goal lead to the game back to the starting line, the players naturally felt a huge gap in their hearts, and the players on the field all sighed in disappointment. Lambert watched the players have almost no fighting spirit, and knew that it was very unrealistic to step up the attack at the last minute, and only continued to strengthen the defense and drag the FA Cup into the replay as much as possible. Thinking of this, Wolves made the last substitution of the game, replacing a striker with a defender. Klopp was dismissive of Wolves' substitution, as if muttering, "Want to replay? No way." As the season enters the second half, the schedule itself is very intense, and it has been going fast since Christmas, double or even 3 games a week. If there is another rematch, the player will definitely not be able to stand it, so he wants the team to win at home. In addition to reducing unnecessary fixtures, it is more important to give the players confidence to face leaders Chelsea in 2 days with a fresh outlook. Both of Liverpool's goals were directly related to Li Qing, and since he became the most dangerous player in the minds of the Wolves players, he was not given the opportunity to easily take the ball. Despite this, Li Qing is still active, not like a player who is closely watched by the opponent. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium enjoyed it very much, thinking that Li Qing's coming on meant giving up the FA Cup, but Liverpool's equalization under Li Qing's rhythm even gave people hope of overtaking. Li Qing was extremely active, and the Wolves players received 2 yellow cards in just 3 minutes in order to complete the defense. The only benefit for them was that there was less and less time, and only a few minutes before injury time. Wolves are fully retreated, leaving Liverpool with very limited attacking space, and Origi and Roberto Firmino are not good at breaking through, so Li Qing has become the only flashpoint for Liverpool and the hope of all Liverpool fans. At this time, he seemed to have forgotten that Li Qing was just a teenager under the age of 16. As the minutes ticked by and injury time crept in, Liverpool's successive attacks failed to pay goals, and Sky British commentator Andy Gray sighed, "It seems Liverpool can only accept the nod of the rematch." However, before the words fell, Philippe Coutinho sent a penetrating ball in the middle of the attack, and the ball quickly rolled from the attacking center to the left rib of the attack. Not many people noticed that Liverpool right-back Moreno plugged in at high speed. Li Qing noticed that the movement of teammate Moreno seemed to be more consistent with Coutinho's pass, and his heart moved. Most of the attention of the Wolves defenders was focused on Li Qing, who was previously extremely active, and his every move was infinitely amplified. Li Qing took the initiative to face the football, and many of the Wolves' defensive players subconsciously approached, so much so that they ignored Moreno, who inserted forward. At this moment, Li Qing, who attracted the attention of the entire defensive line, made a posture to catch the ball, but gave up the ball, and the football rolled to the right side of his attack. Shit. Wolves coach Lambert felt the urge to scold his mother. By the time the Wolves players realized something, it was too late for Moreno to wade into the box. Li Qing's handicap gave Moreno plenty of time to choose, and he could even look up at his receiving teammates in the box. The Wolves players who were panicking to defend were at a loss, and they could only choose Liverpool players defending the box, and the other Liverpool attacking players who inserted forward were flawless. Origi and Roberto Firmino attracted the attention of all the players in the box. Moreno, who entered the box from the right, sent a triangular pass, and the ball rolled against the ground towards the middle of the line. Wijnaldum, who followed up to the top of the penalty area, adjusted his stride on the run and picked up his familiar right foot. Ayo. With a loud shout at Anfield Stadium, Wijnaldum's right foot hit the lower middle part of the football. The football kicked out as like a cannonball. The defenders who are ready to block are subconsciously flashing to the side. Wolves goalkeeper Berg, because of the extreme reaction, the tip of his right finger also touched the football. But the volley power of Wijnaldum's big penalty area line is really large. He only slightly changed the trajectory of the football and failed to save the ball out of the goal. Lore. A no-brainer. Although Li Qing did not have a direct connection with the ball, this goal still has an indelible connection with him. Not to mention the follow-up tactical containment brought by continuous pressure. The handicap at the critical time also brought enough space and time for Moreno to insert forward, thus giving Moreno and other teammates a rare opportunity to attack. Therefore, he is also the team's goal-scoring hero. From a strategic point of view, it can even be said that it is a great contribution. Felu reminds you, 3 things to read. Favorites, recommendations. Episode 69. Gua 1. The iconic elongated shout of British Sky commentator Andy Gray resounded throughout the live broadcast room, so much so that guest commentator Martin Taylor had to plug his ears with his hands. Wijnaldum of the Wolves is excited like a child, venting the depression that has been held in his heart for a long time. Although the main reason for the team's various winless streaks in January this year is the weakness of the strikers, as a midfielder, there is also a certain responsibility, and it feels like an individual saved the team, which makes people can't help but feel a sense of pride. The Wolves fans who came to Anfield with the team were very depressed. Originally they did not have hope that the team would advance to the 5th round of the FA Cup away from home. The problem was that the team was lucky to lead Liverpool by 2 goals in the first half, and it felt like David was going to beat Goliath, and Goliath knocked David 3 times in a row under the dying breath. This feeling, want to resist, and too powerless. The Wolves players on the pitch had a bit of a hard time accepting the result. They did their best in this game. What happened? With 3 goals scored by the home team at the end of the game, injury time is quietly approaching, and there are still more than 2 minutes left. What can you do against a team like Liverpool? Anfield is a place to do wonders. Liverpool are a team that never says die. Until the moment the whistle of the game sounds, no one can determine the ending. It is the spirit of the Red Army, Lux Sports commentator Jean Jun said passionately. When the broadcast screen was given to Li Qing, he changed his words. Li Qing's substitute is the Red Army. Liverpool blowing the clarion call to counterattack. If in the end Liverpool defeat Wolves to advance to the 5th round of this season's FA Cup, he will have to be credited. Countless Reds fans sitting on the computer watching the 4th round of the Liverpool FA Cup silently, this teenager in front of him. Maybe no one knows what stage Li Qing will grow up to in the future, but with the play of this game, the future will definitely not be bad. The trolls who came to see from the Ball Emperor felt very speechless. Is Li Qing really Chinese? Are you sure it's not a stick or a sun? Klopp, in the home dugout, did not take the goal lightly, and he immediately pulled Captain Lucas on the field to explain the new game tactics. The game is not over yet, and the team must be reminded of the mental relaxation that comes with the comeback. In the professional arena, there are too many cases of overtaking the score and then being equalized. Klopp's latest tactic is simple. That is, all the men retreat to the 30-meter area of the side, leaving Li Qing at the forefront of the defensive system as a counterattack point. Wolves, who had the advantage of kicking off, quickly kicked off and wanted to equalize in the shortest possible time, but the overall strength was limited, and the physical decline was obvious, coupled with the negative effects of long-term defense were revealed at this time. Milner kicked off, the football flew right towards Li Qing's forward running route, and the Liverpool fans in the audience became excited again, staring at Li Qing intently. Li Qing stopped the ball perfectly during the run. The defensive player Stillman was fast, and he came off the bench, full of physical fitness, and played 90 minutes of the game himself. However, at this moment, Li Qing suddenly accelerated, and Stillman, who wanted to foul, reached out and only grabbed a cloud of air. Another central defender house is very fast. Can also consume seriously, with the strength to drink milk has not caught up, on the contrary, it is getting farther and farther. Goalkeeper Berg waited until Li Qing came to the door about 25 meters away from the goal to abandon the goal, hoping to save a wave of face, but was stunned by Li Qing's continuous pedaling. With a gentle push on the arch of the left foot, the ball slowly steps over the goal line. Fantastic career starts, twice scored. Li Qing proved himself with his super talent. 42. The scoreboard showed 4-2 until the end of the game whistle, and Liverpool beat visiting Wolves with 4 goals in the final 10 minutes. Ayo. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium plunged into madness, venting their hard-won victory with furious voices. The Liverpool players on the pitch raised their fists and shouted. Of course, they have not forgotten who led the reversal. Led by Captain Lucas, the Liverpool players hugged Li Qing, who had made outstanding contributions. Head coach Klopp naturally did not ignore Li Qing's credit. He shook hands with the opponent coach Lambert and walked into the stadium, giving Li Qing a big hug. Li, you are really amazing. It's all the credit you give the opportunity. Li Qing's eyes turned smartly, his upper body leaned forward, and he asked loudly in Klopp's ear, since I performed so well, can you put me in the squad of the weekend league? Well. Klopp pinched his scumbag chin, lost in thought. Africa Cup 1/4 is over, Senegal lost to Cameroon on penalties, Maine will return to the club early, then the forward line will have a certain guarantee, although Li Qing has a wonderful performance in the 4th round of the FA Cup that just ended, but, after all, he was still young, and it was somewhat not good to occupy a valuable 18-person roster. However, Maine must rest after playing the African Cup, the starter will definitely not be able to play, and the substitute also depends on the state, which is equivalent to saying that Liverpool need a breaking point that can break through without Maine. And Li Qing, it seems. It is the most needed flashpoint for Liverpool at the moment. What to do? Klopp didn't want to dampen Li Qing's enthusiasm. It was easy for young players to gain confidence, and it was equally easy to destroy self-confidence, so he decided to be cautious and patted Li Qing's right shoulder with a smile. Then it depends on your training status. If you are better than most of the players, why not? Head, then you wait for me. I will definitely prove myself with a better state. The first goal of his career is awarded 10 ability points, and his strength will definitely increase, and Li Qing believes that his performance will definitely surpass most of his teammates who are not big stars. Klopp looked at Li Qing's confident smile and couldn't help but think in his heart, Chelsea players don't understand Li's technical characteristics, perhaps. It's an opportunity. The penultimate game in January ended with a win, and the last game was also won, marking a perfect end to January. After a while, the on-site director gave Li Qing a close-up of pushing to his face. The camera gives a lot of meaning, because it is the special treatment of the best player of the game. Episode 70. Sky Britannica commentator Andy Gray looked at Li Qing on the broadcast footage, and his commentary partner Martin Taylor shouted, "Oh my god. Li is the best player of the game? Why not?" Andy Gray said playfully. The individual scored the Liverpool icebreaker goal, and indirectly assisted Origi's equalizer, although the goal of the overtake was not directly involved. But he had left a great shadow on the Wolves players before, so he did not dare to slacken. Philippe Coutinho's direct ball was also a wonderful leak from Li, and he personally scored the goal to seal the victory at the last minute of the game, although he only played less than 20 minutes of the game. Deservedly the best of the game. Lux Sports commentator Jean June instantly turned into a Li Qing fan and was ecstatic. Liverpool's 4 goals at the end of the second half were all related to him. I really want to know how this young player who has not yet reached the age of 16 trains. And the performance is even better than the experienced veterans such as Coutinho, Origi and Roberto Firmino. It's incredible. 2 days from now, Liverpool will face the Blues Chelsea challenge at this stadium, a 6-point battle. Will Li Qing still be valued by Jurgen Klopp? The fans sitting in front of the screen also think so, although Li Qing's nationality is not. But what flows in his blood is 5,000 years of blood. Isn't Lin Shuheo in basketball a Millikan nationality? Isn't it also popular with fans? Of course, there are also fans who disdain. They think that if they are not nationality, they cannot be called people, even if they play well. Li Qing was the best on the spot. According to the rules of professional competition, he should have been interviewed by the mixed zone, but the Liverpool coaching staff had been prepared. They were worried that Li Qing was caught by the meticulous and good at taking words out of context media. So another outstanding player, Wijnaldum, was interviewed on his behalf. The reporters in the mixed area were speechless. They just wanted to trap Li Qing, so as to make a hot news, and as a result, the reporters looked at each other, all helpless. Liverpool fans at Anfield were led by die-hard fans in the KOP stands, chanting Li Qing's last name. Li Qing, who was thanking the fans with his teammates, was very moved, and in the face of the fans' love, he took off his shirt, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it to the stands. The fans of the KOP stands were extremely emotional, especially the female fan who snatched the jersey, as if she had snatched a treasure. She cherished it extraordinarily, kissed and hugged, and Li Qing was a little embarrassed to watch it. I'm sorry, but he enjoys it, and if he can, he wants to be a fan darling every game. When he returned home, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening, and he did not go to wash up at the first time, but switched out of the system with his mind, and considered where to add the ability value of the 10 points reward. In fact, he is more depressed, why he was shortlisted for the 18-man squad for the first time. His first FA Cup appearance and first goal were rewarded, why he set the record for the youngest appearance, the best single game of his career but no reward. Through the systematic answer, it turns out that the first shortlisted squad, first appearance and first goal are unique, but they are not unique to be 100% rewarded. Whether you can get rewards depends on luck. Good luck will activate the hidden reward system, on the contrary, bad luck will not stimulate hidden rewards. Well, what a wayward system. In addition to the 10 ability points that need to be added to where to be added, Li Qing also has item rewards, immune serious injury, and 666 gold coins. Immunity to serious injuries. In professional play, it is inevitable that major injuries will occur that will affect future careers, and this item is immune to one major injury. Through the analysis of items, you can fully understand the power of immune serious injuries, and the impact on careers is often not technical, but from the physical level, whether it is football or athletes in other fields, it is injuries that ruin their careers. Of course, the type of player who beats himself up is not among them. The 666 gold reward allows Li Qing to buy most of the items in the mall, which also gives him a certain guarantee for future professional competitions. Reverse products such as immune serious injuries are also available in the system mall, but the price is relatively high, reaching 10,000 gold coins, which is equivalent to saying that Li Qing's current net worth is purchased with immune serious injuries. However, as long as the game is a little more careful, it is basically difficult for him to suffer serious injuries with a non-easy injury, and he is not in a hurry to stock. Therefore, he first focused his attention on personal attributes, and where to add 10 ability values is a knowledge. Liverpool's home game against Chelsea is imminent, and although he may not be able to make the 18th squad, many times it is necessary to plan ahead. What if? Having just finished an epic game, Klopp's coaching staff must have to assess the possibility of Li Qing helping the team. After more than 10 minutes of thinking, he finally added 2 points to skill, 3 points to strength, and the remaining 5 points to all in possession. In this way, the data becomes much better. All offense, defense, body awareness, height, 177 cm, weight, 67.5 kilograms, position, right winger, strong, 64, fitness, 67, tips, 80, ejaculation, 82, shooting power, 62, headers, 53, long shot, 59, free kick, 60, penalties, 80, sprint speed, 87, acceleration, 89, bounce, 62, flexible, 65, balance, 72, shovel breaks, 34, steals, 40, card slots, 50, eye-catching, 55, dribble, 91, possession, 75, short pass, 62, crosses, 64, long biography, 86, run without the ball, 75, creativity, 85, field of view, 92, reactions, 74, tiltability, 50, willpower, 85, GK saves, 29, ability points can be added, 0, inventory, immune to serious injuries, number of draws, 0, gold, 851, strength assessment, A+, can play as a main player in the top 5 league teams, especially the strength assessment shows A+. Li Qing has a feeling of soaring. He remembers that the last time he paid attention was still A-. He didn't expect to reach A+ now. But then again, it's one thing to be strong, it's another thing to arrange the manager. I still turned 16 in 2 weeks. How many professional coaches are willing to send a child who is not yet 16 years old to play the focus battle? Therefore, Li Qing spread his hands depressedly and said, "Why don't you make me 2 years older?" _Feilu reminds you, 3 things to read favorites, recommendations.